And I just have noticed that it's the same intuition that guides you to know what you want to do with your children as a mother that guides you what to do with them as a teacher. Welcome to the Marvelous Moms Club podcast, where you'll be not only allowed, but encouraged to dream big dreams and imagine the very best future for yourself and your family. Throw away expectations and perfection and embrace the messy beauty of what it means to be a marvelous mom. I'm your host, Kirsten Tyrell, and I can't wait to help you discover what makes you marvelous. Hey guys, happy Friday. It's a 5-minute Friday, and I thought I would do something just kind of fun today, do a little homeschool check-in, because I've had a lot of people, even guests I've interviewed, who are like, I'm really fascinated about this whole homeschool while you build a business at the same time situation. Tell me how that's going. So I figured I'd do a little check-in. It's been a few months since we started homeschooling, and I had this sense of dread. Nope, I didn't have the sense of dread. I had this sense of sadness that people were like, yeah, it starts out great in August, September, and then things just get a little hard by January. And I was like, I don't want to lose my mojo. I want it to be great all the time. And I'll just tell you, we're coming into this phase. We're coming into November, December-ish, whenever this is going to air. Right now it's November. And it's, well, it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I didn't think that's a mistake. I didn't think it was going to be easy. I never, ever thought it would be easy, but I always romanticize things, and I had an ideal in my head. What I am discovering, though, is something that is truth that somebody, lots of people told me, is no two homeschools look the same. And you have to be so intuitive when you are parenting in general, right? Then you add a homeschool layer, and you are now the primary, provider of their education and their nourishment and their emotional well-being and all the things, right? So this is just a whole other level of responsibility. And I just have noticed that it's the same intuition that guides you to know what you want to do with your children as a mother that guides you what to do with them as a teacher. It's the same thing, right? Like the guide inside of you that knows, it's that motherly intuition that knows what your children need, also knows how to teach them. And I think this is the biggest thing that I want to tell people who are like, oh, I could never do that. Like, I wouldn't even know where to begin, or I don't have the patience, which, by the way, is hilarious because I have about the patience of, what's the most impatient thing do you guys think? Do you think it's an animal? Do you think it's a person? I mean, I'm sure it's people, right? I'm up there with the most impatient. I did a personality quiz today, and impatient was one of the things I put. I like to have stuff going. Like, I don't wait for things to happen. I make them happen. And as a parent who's homeschooling, I have to have a lot of patience, not just because they're with me all the time, but because children all learn at different paces. And I'm noticing that it's kind of like I want to claw my little eyeballs out with pencils when it's time to teach what a long E and a short E sounds like, because I'm like, I don't even understand it. Like, I do now, but I didn't remember the rule. I didn't remember the vocabulary rule, but I'm sitting there. I'm like, does she even need to know this? And I realized I'm beating my head against the wall, frustrated that she's not catching on to this. But why does she need to catch on to this today? Why don't we move on and go read Sleeping Beauty? Why don't we talk about something that lights us both up? Why don't we educate differently? Yes, we have these workbooks. Yes, we have this curriculum we can follow, but I get to do whatever I want. Like, my husband is he's at the science center right now with the kids for a couple hours, and that's education. And I don't have to be personally involved in every part of their learning. And I think that's the coolest takeaway that I'm gleaning. It's not easy, but it gets harder when I try and make it something that it's not supposed to be. When I try and put it into an Excel spreadsheet, when I try and make it a Trello board, which Trello is my friend. I love it. It's the best way to stay organized. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to check it out. I'll link to it in the show notes. It's a great way to get organized. But when I get obsessed over sticking all the things in a checklist instead of intuitively guiding their educational experience, it leads to so much frustration. And the thing is, instinctively, I love learning to be fun. And we've done a lot of cool things, like our trip that we went on for 3 weeks, learning about Greece and Italy and all these cool things. They gained an education. They learned about money. They learned about exchange rates and all that kind of stuff. They learned things about travel. They learned, there is so much they learned from that, and it was fun and it was fulfilling, and they made memories, and they will never forget the things that they learned. And then I start doubting myself, and I'm like, maybe I need to be better at getting the bookwork. Maybe we need to be doing language arts every single day. And then I sat there and I tried to do it in between 3 kids, and I was so out of practice with it that we spent 3 hours. It was terrible, and I hated homeschooling, and I was like, I don't want to do this. If I have to sit here in the same spot for 3 hours teaching child after child after child. And this isn't saying I don't want to teach my children. There's got to be a different way. And I'm actually going to have a really great guest on the podcast next year. Her name's Julie Bogart. She wrote a book called The Brave Learner, and it's fantastic. I met her at the Wild and Free conference here in Franklin when did I meet her? In September. And she's really excited to come on the show. So I'm stoked to have her, and maybe it'll open some minds who are not invested in homeschooling yet. But that's not what this is about. You don't have to be a homeschooler to appreciate this episode. I think my point is, no matter what we do, no matter the choices we make as a parent, what we really have to do is to trust ourselves, to listen to those instincts, because they will guide you. If my instincts are saying, Kirsten Tyrell, you cannot sit at a desk because you couldn't do that as a child, why would you expect your children to want to do that? Why do you want to do that as an adult? Heck no. You go outside, you sit on a picnic blanket under the fall trees, and you talk about the letter F and the letter A and L, and you talk about being short A. You do it more immersively, right? Like, I'm kind of coaching myself even as I record this episode. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Life does not have to look a certain way. So my homeschool check-in is, it's not going perfect, but what I love is that we are finding our own flow. We are finding our family flow, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm still living in the purpose that I felt called to do, that it is not going to be easy, but it is going to be worth it. I'm trying to repeat that to myself every single day. That's like the mantra. Like, I know this was inspired. I know this was inspired. Help me. Show me, God, why was this inspired? What do you want me to do with these little humans? Am I doing this right? Am I screwing this up? It's pretty awesome. So that's my little 5-minute Friday for y'all. Just plugging a little of the homeschool, but also being real with you, because I don't want to have you thinking it's just the most magical thing. It can be, but magic has a dark side too, like everything. It's not always perfect. But anyway, I hope you're having a great Friday. I hope you go and have a beautiful weekend with your families. Trust your instincts, trust your gut. Do what you know you're supposed to do for your children, and whatever that looks like, I'm here to support you. I'm here to cheer you on. You're a marvelous mom, and I hope you know it, because I know it, and everybody around you knows it, and it's just time for you to figure it out. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a beautiful day.
Are you looking for a fun activity, some inspiration for your homeschool journey, some travel ideas, or anything under the sun that might pertain to motherhood? Make sure you've checked out all the new amazing content on marvelousmomsclub.com. It's become an amazing collaborative community full of so many messages from moms from all around the world. So if you're looking for something that strikes your fancy, inspires you, teaches you, or just lifts you up when you're feeling down, go check out marvelousmomsclub.com today.